geographic area. Don't miss out on the opportunity to amplify your message with iRadio. Partner or advertise with us today and make your voice heard across South Sudan. هل بتفتش على راديو مثالي؟ آي راديو هو جوابك. ليه تختار آي راديو؟ في 5 الأسباب المغنادل. الثقة والوصول. بيعتبر آي راديو المحطة الإذاعية الأكثر ثقة وشعبية في جنوب السودان، مدعومة بالاستطلاعات الأخيرة مع قاعدة.
Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. President Salva Kiir has extended a renewed invitation to all-out groups and pro-peace opposition forces, urging them to join the peace process for reconciliation and nation-building. The Speaker of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Jemma Nunu Kumba, has cautioned some members of Parliament against the misuse of social media for personal attacks, spreading misinformation and promoting inflammatory rhetoric. And Israel's military struck the Syrian Defense Ministry in Damascus and government forces in southern Syria for a third day as deadly sectarian fighting in the mostly Druze province of Suaida continued. This is stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. President Salva Kiir has extended a renewed invitation to all-out groups and pro-peace opposition forces, urging them to join the peace process for reconciliation and nation-building. The president made the statement during his address at the reopening of the first session of the revitalized Transitional National Legislature on Wednesday. President Kiir emphasized the urgency of their participation, saying, and I quote, "I extend my hand for peace once more. The suffering of our people must not be prolonged by the continued rejection of dialogue. The doors of peace remained opened," end quote. Kiir called on all factions outside the peace process to join the government on the path of reconciliation, unity and nation building. He also urged the integration of opposition forces to commit to peace. To bolster the implementation of the peace agreement, President Kiir stated that he recently reconstituted the high-level standing committee for its implementation. This committee is tasked with working closely with electoral and transitional justice institutions to ensure their responsibilities are fully and timely executed. The Speaker of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Jemma Nunu Kumba, has cautioned some members of Parliament against the misuse of social media for personal attacks, spreading misinformation and promoting inflammatory rhetoric. Speaking during the official opening of the Parliament in Juba yesterday, Nunu warned that such behavior undermines the dignity of the August House and risks inciting division and mistrust among the very people who entrusted the lawmakers with their mandate. Nunu observed that a few lawmakers have chosen to use social media as a platform for personal attacks, misinformation and inflammatory rhetoric. She said that using social media to settle political scores or discredit fellow leaders serves no constructive purpose, especially in a context as delicate as South Sudan. The Speaker further stated that such conduct could have dangerous consequences, including misleading young people and other members of the communities. The South Sudan Embassy in Kenya has issued a directive to South Sudanese importers, clearing agents and logistics to acquire a certificate for all imports into Kenya, including goods to other countries such as South Sudan. In a statement dated July 15th, it said the regulation is part of Kenya's Financial Act 2025. It requires that importers obtain a certificate issued by a competent authority in the country of export. The embassy said the regulation applies to all shipments, including those transiting from Mombasa to South Sudan. However, the embassy said it has requested the Kenyan government for a grace period for goods already shipped and those in transit, as it is engaging with the relevant authorities on the new development. This is our Radio Morning News. And now to the international scene. Israel's military struck the Syrian Defense Ministry in Damascus and government forces in southern Syria for a third day as deadly sectarian fighting in the mostly Druze province of Suwaida continued. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said it was working to save our Druze brothers. Interim Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara accused Israel of causing a large-scale escalation. More than 350 people are reported to have been killed since Sunday when clashes between Druze militias and Bedouin tribes erupted in Suwaida. Finally, Republicans in the U.S. Senate have said they will spare the U.S.-backed HIV and AIDS program PEPFAR from cuts amid a larger effort to reduce government spending. Senators said they would end a plan to cut $400 million from the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief program, leaving total proposed cuts at $9 billion. If the PEPFAR amendment is approved, the bill will go back to the House of Representatives for another vote ahead of a Friday deadline. Multiple senators from both parties had expressed concern with cuts to PEPFAR, which was launched under President George W. Bush and has been credited with saving tens of millions of lives around the world, especially in Africa. This is our Radio Morning News. And to end this bulletin, here is a recap of the headlines. President Salva Kiir has extended a renewed invitation to allow groups and pro-peace opposition forces, urging them to join the peace process for reconciliation and nation building. The Speaker of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Jemma Nunu Kumba, has cautioned some members of Parliament against the misuse of social media for personal attacks, spreading misinformation and promoting inflammatory rhetoric. And elsewhere, Israel's military struck the Syrian Defense Ministry in Damascus and government forces in southern Syria for a third day as deadly sectarian fighting in the mostly Druze province of Suwaida continued. That's the end of our Radio Morning News. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287 It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 8 o'clock. I'm Lasuba. Memo. Thanks for listening.